Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. So welcome everyone for .NET Conference 2022, which is happening around this month everywhere. So I think let's jump into what's it's all about. Let me share my screen. All right. So first of all, I would like to mention here that I run a community, Microsoft Community Pakistan, a Facebook focus group. So if any one of you is interested, you can join that group. We share a lot of upcoming information and what is happening into .NET community and all those technologies which are relevant to Microsoft. So all those information are being shared there. So I will recommend all of you to join in the community for future updates and all. Alright, so a bit brief about myself. So I have over 10 years of experience working as IT professional, and I have my master's and in computer science, and I'm also first female from Pakistan to receive Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award 6 times, and also I receive C Sharp Corner Online Developer Community Award 5 times. So let's jump into what's it's all about .NET. So those of you who are not familiar with what .NET is, so .NET has started its journey of becoming open source in 2001, and since then, this platform is keep growing and providing very good features, good developer centric features which are really help developers while they when they build their products, their apps. So .NET is as I mentioned, is free cross platform open source, and developer can use a single platform to build all kind of application. So the key idea of .NET platform mainly is that you can build any sort of application, whether it's cloud based, whether it's web based, desktop based, mobile based, gaming, any IoT related devices, even AI models. All those things can be built using single platform, which is .NET, and it is compatible to Linux, Mac. You can build on Linux, you can build on Mac, or you can build on Windows. You can make your projects, you can make your NuGet libraries. You can create share your code into GitHub communities. Even for that matter, you can use Visual Studio code for other technology platform as well, not just limited to Microsoft technologies. Then we have Visual Studio family, and all those things basically utilize .NET platform to boost your development and support all the developer community while they build their applications. So as I have mentioned, .NET started its open source journey in on 2001, and since then it's growing, and over 48,000 plus developer community member have contributed into .NET open source community. So there is another open source .NET foundation, which is basically the kind of the base of .NET open source community, where you can register yourself, where you can be a part of that community. You can contribute your .NET code. You can contribute any of your code, become part of that .NET foundation community, and get the latest update what is happening, or you can contribute your code. So uh, as .NET 7 has released, so what make it separate, and what makes it different from other the family of .NET before it. So the key highlight of .NET 7 is its performance improvement. there's a huge performance improvements that has been incorporated into .NET 7, which is almost equivalent to 1,000 times compared to its previous version. So this is basically the major change into .NET 7. While there are also many improvement into .NET Core, into your .NET framework, and all and different other development UIs, and all that. But the key improvement in .NET 7, or I would say the key you know point of this release, it's added a huge performance improvement. So go I would suggest you guys to just check this .NET 7 environment, and incorporate, try to incorporate it into your projects. You can retargeting your projects into .NET 7 has been very simpler. And compatibility has been compatibility for your projects are very easier. You can easily retarget your projects. So now so there is another element that has been introduced into .NET family, which is here, which is the I won't say it's fairly introduced right with this release of .NET. But the thing is that it has been existed independently as a separate project of Microsoft. But now with the latest release of Visual Studio, the incorporation of this particular module has been available, and you can start working into this particular platform directly through Visual Studio. So what this particular module is? So it is called Maui. It is pronounced as Maui, which is multi-platform app UI. So what multi-platform app UI basically means? We have I think most of you have already been working on many multi-platform frameworks, whether it could be whether it's React or whether it's Xamarin. So those of you who are familiar with the Xamarin and developing in Xamarin, they guys obviously do know that it's a bit of a difficult in Xamarin, especially when you have to kind of restructure your code environment. Like for example, if you are working with iOS, and also you are developing an app which is targeted for both iOS and Android. So you have to kind of restructure your both of your UIs for your targeted platform, and also you need to do some tweaking within the code to identify which code belongs to .NET and which code basically belongs to iOS. So you know that Xamarin, if when working with the native components of your targeted platform, Xamarin is may or may not provide support for that. So eventually, if you are working in your target mobile devices, and you need to do work on your you know uh, native you are interested into developing application that majorly uses native features of the Android platform or iOS platform, then eventually you have to switch to their targeted environment. So it become kind of a difficult and hassle, even if you are working in Xamarin, and kind of doing your work. You eventually have to rewrite your portion of course based on the targets of your platform. So the key difference here with this new platform Maui, which has been introduced, is you really don't need to change a single bit of code. So the ideology is simple, as any cross platform would have, that you have a single code. So previously you can that theoretically it is easier said that okay, there's a single code, and then that single code can be incorporated into any targeted platform. However, when you actually start jump into that platform and start working into that platform, you do realize that you have to either restructure entire UI for that target, but as platform. Like in case of Xamarin, if you are working in iOS, then you have to rewrite the UI for iOS framework, and again then you have to rewrite portion bits and portion of UI components for your Android. So it kind of become difficult. And also when we save single code and multi-platform, so in Xamarin you eventually have to do some tweaking. If let's suppose you are doing XAML or Xamarin Forms, and you're working in Xamarin Forms, and eventually you have to add some portion of code that suggests that this particular portion of code belongs to iOS and this particular portion of code belongs to Android. So those tweaking definitely are necessity, and it eventually break that break that ideology, that single code base, and and multiple platform targeting. So this thing has been eliminated into this new platform Maui. So it actually truly you are just working in a single code base, and even for that matter you are using a standard XAML. Those of you who already familiar with XAML and WPF and those sort of that technology, so all you have to do is develop your UI or your code into that one single code base, and then you just simply target your platform, and you can easily retarget that particular application into multiple platform. So it really easy, and it's really productive, and it actually truly match that ideology of a single code multi-platform environment. So as I have already mentioned, so this particular module Maui is available in Visual Studio 2022, release 17.3 and above. So you can update your Visual Studio or download your Visual Studio community version, whatever available to you, and then you can play around with this module. And also for Mac user, the release will be available in Visual Studio 2022 17.4. So this Maui SDK is incorporated as a module, as a project module into Visual Studio in these release. So as I have mentioned, the really this particular platform really matched that ideology of a single code base and multiple project target. So as you on, just give me a second. So on the left side you could see that your platforms are mentioned. It could be so another thing, another advantage of working in Maui, like if I compare that to Xamarin, in Xamarin you can only work in either Xamarin is only for targeted only for mobile devices. So you cannot work with you cannot develop Windows application, or for that matter Mac applications. So you cannot work, you can only work target your uh, you know uh, code or application for mobile devices. But the difference, another difference in Maui is that you can not only target Android and iOS mobile platform, but you can also target Mac applications, Mac Catalyst, or you can also develop Windows application into this module, and then simply publish those application into their target marking. So again the idea is simple. You have one code base, and then you create, and then you can target all these four platforms and publish them into their relevant markets. So as you can see that the ideology here is very simple in this structure of this environment. You have your platform target. You can tweak their manifestation or their configuration files, and make whatever changes you want to make them, and then you use these code files and directly develop your UI and your code on this particular platform. So as I have mentioned you, so Maui support native component of your targeted platform. Like for example, in Android case, it support native Android widgets, Android X libraries, Java, Kotlin APIs. And for iOS side, it support its native UI kits, its Arc kit, and dozens of more. And it's also support Objective Swift and APIs. And again, for Mac Catalyst, it support its native components and libraries and APIs as well. And also for Windows app development, you can utilize Windows app SDK, its APIs, and its UI components. So there are over 50 plus controls and layouts and views available in .NET MAUI platform app, which you can utilize to develop your application. Or in if you are familiar with XAML coding, you can also always come up with your own custom controls as well. So these are over 50 plus controls are layouts and views are available to you, and you can just utilize them in your application development. So I think let's look into how. So I'm just going to create a very basic, show you a very basic application of Maui, how you can create it, just a hello world example. And I will show you that without changing a code, I can just simply simulate my whatever application I have developed into both Android and Windows app, because my system can currently does not support Mac, so I cannot show you that side. But I can show you how you can retarget your with your Maui develop application to your different platform. So let me start my demo. Okay, right. So all right, so few prerequisite I would like to mention before I jump into the startup of Hello World application of Maui platform. For Android, if you are targeting Android, then you need to first install Android SDK on your system. And if you are working in Windows applications which are available into Windows source or no. So here you need to know a key difference between Windows application development using WPF and using and the Windows app. So they are different from each other. So this particular module or cross platform module, I would say, just allow you to develop Windows apps which are eventually published into Windows App Store. So you also need to install its SDK as well. So this is, I have installed Visual Studio 2022 Professional Edition. I have access to it. So just at the top, you just search Maui, and you will see three different templates are being shown. So currently I'm not making any library, and I'm not making Blazor enable app. So I'm just creating a very simple Maui app which eventually get retargeted, and it will use XAML as its UI. So I just select it, and then I click yes, and then I give name to my application. And then I here I can select my framework. I can use 6 as well. It's available in 6 as well, in .NET 6 as well. So I'm using the latest version of .NET, which is .NET 7. And then my first Hello World application of Maui has been created. So as you can see, the default, oh, there is another update. Those of you who are familiar in in working in XAML environment, so I just would like to mention that y- m- the XAML only so with this Maui module, you won't be able to work in UI visual platform like previously which you work, especially when you develop WPF applications or you're with Windows phone environment. So those of you who are familiar in working with XAML, they know that when XAML page open, there's not just the code view, there's also a designer view. So know that that designer view is not now not available. You can work only directly only into, into the, code XAML part. You can even you cannot use the blender, which was previously available with the, Microsoft technology. So now XAML don't support that. XAML, you need to work into, code. So it's a very simple view. It's let's look into this code first, especially for those of you who are not familiar with XAML. When I say XAML, it basically is it's spelled out as XMAL, right? Okay. So it's pronounced as XAML. It's an kind of an extension of XML. More, it is basically more, refined version of Microsoft to work with the UIs. Because to work with UIs, those of you who work with Android are know that they, their UI uh, development or UI designer is basically XML based, and working in XML becomes quite little bit difficult at times. So Microsoft introduced its own version, which is known as XAML, and it is more specialized. It has more, kind of advanced UI components to it, and it is very simpler to, add your actions, add your components into this, particular environment. So this example code is very simple. It start with a scroll view, so you can scroll on your page, and then it has a, vertical stack layout with its basic setting, and then we have an, simple image, and then a label that says hello world, and then another label that said, says welcome to .NET MAU. And then this is basically the button which has been added with action. So to go to your this particular action, you can either right click here and click on view code. So you will be directly jump into your code of this particular XAML, and you can see this XAML is attached to this CS code. So here you can, add whatever action you want to perform for that particular button. So this is a simple button. When you just keep on clicking it, and it simply update the counter on the UI of that particular button. So it's a very simple example. And this is its code base, and you can see here there is no separation of, okay, if you want to target iOS, or want to target, Android, or if you want to target Windows app, you need to do this and that. It's just simple C# code. And on my right side, if you look this, you can see there are different platform. There's Android, there's Windows app, there's Mac Catalyst, then there's iOS, right? So I am currently targeting these two platform. So you can see their manifestation file, their, main activity. You can always make configuration into these files according to the platform. So now currently my first target is Windows machine. So when I click here, so first, the project build started. So it take few minutes. So you might run into this error. So what this error say that developer mode has not been activated into my window. So you need to first, to develop application for your for Windows machine or for Windows Store, you need to first activate your operating system as developer mode. So how you can do that? You can go to your start, then you can go to settings, then you can go to update securities, and simply click on for developers, or you can simply type on search, right? And you will be able to see this setting, right? So here, this is what I need to activate. So as I have activated it, now my application will able to run. So now when I, execute my application, You can see that my application has been successfully executed and it's now available. And this is a kind of a look and feel of application developed in Maui. And again, as I say, it's a very simple application. If I click on this button and keep clicking at this, update the counter as the as my code suggested. So now, without changing any code or without doing anything, restructuring anything into UI to match it to my Android platform, I just simply, on this toolbar, I simply extend my drop down, and now here you can see that these are the options, platform which I can run my application or simulate it. So I'm going to simulate on Android. So those of you who are not familiar with Android environment, so I do mention here that when if you want to run this application or target your application for an Android device, you need to first configure or download and install your Android SDK. You can do it from get tool feature and then activate that, and then Android device manager and SDK manager will be installed. And then you, after installing your Android SDK, you need to configure your Android virtual device, your emulator. So I have configured two, one for Android platform 12 and another for the latest release, which is 13. So I'm going to use that. So I have targeted that particular, and as this particular information has changed, and now I execute it. So you see that my deployment and build of the project for Android has been started. It might take some time, depend on your machine performance, or your machine RAM and all that. So as you can see that my emulator has been opened, and now my application is being deployed, which you can see it here. It says hello Maui, and let's wait so the application starts. So yes, you can see that without changing any code or restructuring my UI, my that same application is also available into Android platform as well. And I can again use this button, which simple increment the counter and display on this button. So I, I think this is very interesting platform, and I think it's going to be very impactful in the community, especially those people who are working in cross platform application. And this platform going to be very helpful. So that's about it. So again, you guys can join the Microsoft community Facebook group, which where we keep post different sort of tutorials or different information related to Microsoft technology. Or you can, if you have any problem or within your project and you want to troubleshoot, you can discuss that into that group as well. So and also Microsoft .NET conference sessions are available into their official page. You can search that, and you can check out those sessions as well. They are more extensive and more focused on different aspects of different elements within .NET. Could be ASP.NET, and also Maui. You can also develop gaming applications. So all those sessions are available on online on YouTube. You can just go on into your that .NET conference official page by, if I show you right here, like if you just type .NET 22, so you will be able to see the first link and then you can check out other session and also other local events which are happening in locally. So I think that's about it from my end. I have been able to add some information into your knowledge, and I hope you continue your contribution into .NET community. So uh, that's about it. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you all of you who have attended this event. And keep supporting us and keep grow this community. So thank you everyone. Take care. Allah Hafiz.